man.
Send Shaul the link.
I did.
Okay, I have the I'm open to the spot, so
I think we're live already. Yeah, we
you
are.
think we're live? So we should no longer talk about everyone. Yeah.
Yeah. One never knows. Okay, live.
Okay, let's find. Let's see.
And I am, as of now, the only viewer. Okay, my phone is on with the views. I just need to post this on the face. 1 second, and then I gotta post the Pirkei Avot link. I'm on a laptop, so it's taking a little bit more time.
You know what mommy says.
Huh?
Nothing.
Where's Shaul? He's supposed to be on.
I'll drop the link in the laptop. I don't know. Did you send Shaul the link?
I did. I certainly did.
All right, I dropped the link to the Pirkei Avos so people can be in touch. What else can I do for you?
Wait, you got the link?
Yep, I dropped it in the. You know what? I'll drop it for you as well in the Zoom.
No, I'm just.
We're so prepared.
Oh, it's live, yeah. Absolutely. Okay, Jewish Cabo.live. I guess that's all I need, no?
Yeah, and this I'll share. There are 2
YouTube.
people watching. You realize that's me and you.
Jewish Cabo /live. Okay. We got it. What? What do you mean? Oh, Jewish.live. Jewish Cabo.live. There we go.
Okay, I dropped the YouTube link in our secret family unit. Anywhere else you want it dropped?
Pirkei Avot. No, that's fine.
Okay, and I also wrote Shaul join us.
See,
we're working together. This is teamwork.
Yes.
And Shaul's in. There you go.
He's in.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The dream team is back and clean.
Yeah. What do you mean by clean?
No, it rhymes with dream team.
Oh.
I smelled myself and I was like, whoa.
I thought it was like a drug reference.
Okay. Right? It sounds like, like people in recovery always say that kind of thing. Like, I've been clean for 40 years.
Thanks to Chabad, I'm clean.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Oh, thank you so much. Here, it goes in here. All right, I'm just getting the plug.
What's the plug for? Is it your laptop's not plugged in the entire time?
No, the Marvelous Midas machine wasn't working.
The whole city, the whole Cabo had its lights, electricity off.
Wait, what just happened now? There was just a spark. Okay, I'm charged. We're good. I'm charged. All right.
That was me, guys. That was me. For those who saw last week.
Let's do this link. Let's do this. No.
I sent the link. We're up to about the Afu Rub, number 6.
Before you say that, I just want to reverse to last week. We asked why does it say we are now people, be a man. Why does it say like other places there's no person, be a person? So I was told, somebody just commented to me that.
1 second. Why doesn't it say what? Why does it say?
Anytime it says ish where there's no person, tishtadli is be a person. Why does it say where there's no people? So I think some people try to explain, because some Farshim actually commentators try to explain that earlier he says I'll about the tzibur he says
I'll differentiate
from the tzibur, right? Do not separate from the tzibur. So I think this is kind of like a fine line, it's like a caution. Like, yes, I'll differentiate from the tzibur. However, if they're going to go to do something dangerous or stupid, they're going to go crazy gambling or something like that, where they're doing something wrong, then be an ish. Stand up for yourself and do what's right. So that's why I use that language. I just wanted to, that this little disclaimer first week.
Right. We said last week that reference that like just according to the pshat, it meant when nobody's taking a leadership role, right? When everyone's standing on the sidelines.
Correct. Right. But sometimes you're going to think, wait, I'll difference from that tzibur, people doing something stupid. Maybe that's what God wants me to do. So no, so it's telling over here, yes, but only for good things. I'll difference from that tzibur.
Tzvi, watch your back. Watch your back, Tzvi.
Yeah, I see.
All right.
He's not in pajamas. It's weird.
So I did a little bit of, there's a very low, it's only 2 lines, like it's only a couple.
Ricky, you know, like thousands of people just saw you. That was your 15 minutes of fame. You're done.
All right. That was more like 12 seconds.
Yeah,
Which for a
Okay.
kid is 15
that's one
minutes.
way to get famous.
Yep. Yeah.
12 seconds of infamy.
Well,
All right.
we have another few lines and it's really loaded, these 3 lines.
Ooh.
It's only
We're,
very
we're up to Mishnah 6, right?
by Mishnah 6 and chapter 2.
All right. Mishnah 6 of chapter 2. The link is on the face. Someone should put the link out on the tube also.
I did. I posted it.
Oh, you awesome! Wow, you're amazing. I don't see
Benny,
it.
I
don't see it in the comments.
I did it again. Now it's twice. Look at the comments. Look at the comments on the tube.
Why am I not getting comments?
Can we do the YouTube and
You missed all the curse. People were like angry at you, Benny. I don't know why. You should check the comments.
There's not a single comment down.
No, there's like, seriously? Ma wrote, Benny, you're embarrassing me in public.
which mom?
Now I see now you comment as if like my comment is worthless.
Your comment
my
never
comment
showed
did not
up.
go
Your
through.
comment never showed up.
Okay, let me test. Test
We're
comment.
sorry, people. This is the Milsa de Bdichasa. There we go. From Rav Comedy did a test comment. All right, I get that. That one I saw.
I did 2 comments before. What's going? Your computer has problems. Your
Hey, look at this guys. Martian's coming out upside down.
Okay.
All right, Benny, you should check your side.
Yeah, your right side. Face coming in on the right.
Yeah, which is appropriate to this Mishnah.
Yeah.
I should check my right side. Yeah.
No, there's a skull floating into this into the side of the screen. I scored a
Manny,
35
you're
on
on
my
live
test.
YouTube. Please stop it. There's 88 people watching now. My goodness, get out of the screen. It doesn't matter. Okay, let's do this. Let's just start learning, guys. All right. So we're gonna start with the Mishnah 6. We were talking about the man named Hillel, and Hillel once noticed a skull.
Hillel Hazakin. Hillel the
Hillel
elder.
Hazakin, the great grandfather of the last few Mishnahs, the whole dynasty of the Rabbi Gamliels and Rabbi Yehudas and all those, right?
Yeah, in some
Shimons.
cases, great grandfather.
All right. Thanks for that clarity. And so basically we go back to the founder of this dynasty, and he had this phrase that he would say, well, no, one time he was going and he discovered a skull that was floating on the face of the water. And I hope he didn't drink the water, but he told the skull, he said, Al da'ateft atfuch, because you drowned others. That's why they drowned you. And in the end, v'sof metifayich, those that drowned you, yetufun will be drowned. Of course, the lesson he's basically saying is what you give to others is going to come back to you, and what others give to you is going to come back to them, right? That seems to be the pshat.
Yeah.
And
You know that this Mishnah is skipped in some texts, like
Right.
like too gruesome. It's rated PG. No, rated. I'm sorry, R. Seriously, it is. It's skipped. I read a beautiful thing on that actually.
I'm sure, but I don't have that.
Guys, I'm coming in with a commentary. How weird is that? No, but you go first, and then if it wasn't said, I'll add it.
I didn't have much time to prepare, but I'm looking at the Bartanura. The Bartanura comments, and he says even deeper, sort of, and he basically says it's not just that whatever you do to others comes back to you, but the idea is that there is justice in the world. We're talking about where a guy killed somebody else, and justice wasn't served by the courts. So there was no witnesses, or the Beit Din, for whatever reason, wasn't able to give him his punishment. So Hashem is going to let fate and destiny bring this person to his end that he deserves for what he did. So it's a mixture of belief in God. It's a mixture of justice being served, and whatever you do to others comes back to you. Like the guy in the Mendi and the Goyim with the
Very
rock.
true. Can I say something?
Yeah.
So it's a little bit detail. So it's a little bit, when I learned this Mishnah a little bit and did a little bit of research on the commentaries, it seems like there's a little bit of a loaded Mishnah. So the Medrash David, who's the Rambam's grandson, he writes that this was the skull of Pharaoh. Parai. And many others Sfarim write this as well. And we can see this in what it says, Gulgoylas Achas. Not just Gulgoylas, you just see a skull. And we know the Mishnah is very exact in the words that it uses. It was a Achas, it was a specific, it was a specific one that was floating on the water. And it also says in many places that Hillel had the neshama of Moshe Rabbeinu. And they had many things in common. They were both chesed, they were both did a lot of kindness. And he came back basically to elevate the skull. It hadn't come to a resting place. You see, it was just floating. It was not just resting, it was floating on the water. So it still needed a repair. So by making a Mishnah about this, and he's telling him what you've done to others happened to you, and the end will be that those who drown you will be drowned, was a reference to Parai. Interestingly, what's interesting is, why does the Mishnah start with the words af? Even he. Where does that come in from? That's a really bad English, like it's when you're in grammar class and a kid comes in starting a sentence with the word and, and I went to that's not how you start. Where does af come from? So if you look in another Mishnah, which is called Avot de Rabbi Nassan, in Pirkei Beis, Mishnah Yud Beis, he has the same ending to Mishnah, but he starts with a previous story with Hillel. And the story goes like this, that Hillel was in the marketplace and he saw merchants selling wheat. Hillel went over to the merchants and asked him how much is the wheat. So they told him it's 2 dinar. When he went over to another set of merchants, he asked them how much is the wheat, and they told him it was 3 dinars. So he said, 1 second, why do you, it's like you're going to market of gold, more or less. Everybody's selling the gold for the same price. Why all of a sudden are you a third more expensive? Why is your market price more than others? So he says, they told him stupid Bavli because he was originally from Bavel, and they called him stupid Bavli.
Told you they made fun of bubblies.
That he said that you taught it, it said Lefun Tzara Agra, according to the amount of work you put into it, that's what you charge. That's the price for it. So he told him, I taught you this, and now you're using this against me. And it says at the end of the Mishnah, at the end of this part, the first part of the Mishnah, they see on ice on the mutta, but he turned them to good. They did tshuva. So we see a connect. Then continues to afudo b'goyla. So the theme of the Mishnah is where he'll repaired. He helped people get back onto the right way. And here, and not just people, we also see over here, he also did the same kindness to a skull.
Very nice.
That's a little bit of because the Mishnah looks a little bit,
No, I like what you said about how he's talking about justice, because I think that during his time, we discussed this last time when Hillel and Shammai came up, but during his time, it was a very dark period, actually. King Yanai and his sons, who were real douchebags. The kind of people who would see a dead person and just tell the dead person off without allowing the dead person to defend itself. By the way, nowadays, talking to a skull would be the equivalent of taking a selfie with it. Benny, your audio's off. I was just in the middle of blasting Hillel. I'm sorry.
Yes, I know. I heard that.
I'm sorry. No, but there is a nice commentary that I really like that I actually came across. Like when I was younger and studying, and I remember it because basically what it was saying is that what he's not actually talking to the skull. He was talking to like society, right?
yes.
Like this was like something that lasted all the way to the time of the Mishnah. This is something that people remembered because he was talking to society. What he was saying, he was talking about murder and how murder, he's telling this person how murder changes a society. There's the concept of murder, or introducing something new that's evil, is something that creates something that continues. If there's one murder, there's likely to be another. There's likely to be another. Just like someone who steals once, the first person the first time someone steals, they feel terrible about it, but eventually it becomes nature. Same thing, society, and that is what he's saying. He's saying be very careful in society, and stuff like that.
I heard a very similar commentary to that he was given. I think, tell me if I'm wrong, that Herod was the king at the time. He was the ruler at the time.
At the end, maybe, because Hillel lived 120 years, so yeah, it's likely. But yeah.
So maybe he was not such a good emperor. And I heard that one of the things I was heard at this line.
All the emperors at Hillel's time were not good.
Not so nice. So he was giving it basically, as you said, to society. He was
Not
actually
emperor.
being the emperor also. I mean, it's the same idea,
Yeah,
but I just learned that little twist to it. So,
yeah.
Right. The Medrash Shmuel, he also asks if that was Paro's skull, why was the person who drowned him punished? Paro deserved to be drowned because he had drowned others. So he answers that although Hashem had that's the famous phrase of Hashem has other harbe shlochim lamakom, right? Hashem has many different emissaries. He could have sent a snake, or he could have sent an animal or another thing to kill Paro or whoever deserves to be killed. But because a human being came and took matters into his own hands out of his free will, he's also going to be given the punishment, even though the victim deserved that punishment, right? Yeah.
Do you think that when Hillel finished shouting this at the skull, he ended off with "In your face"? Sorry, that was terrible.
Busy on the mic, so you have to stop. Right.
No, Benny, before you tell him off, you have to turn off
to
your
put it on
sound.
mute.
I don't usually talk to Skull.
Go to bed.
Like this.
No, you actually forgot the mic on that one. That was horrible. All right. Okay.
We muted it. There's like an 8-second delay, so thank God you were able to mute it for the YouTube viewers, because I would have got fired from my job.
Right. Another thing that the Medrash Shmuel says on this is it's interesting. He says Hillel tells the skull that you drowned others, and then he ends up saying that you drowned others. That's why you were drowned. V'sof metayefeich yetufun, right? And and metifayech yetufun, and the end, v'sof, on the end of those who have drowned you are going to be drowned. So the Medrash Shmuel asks, why does he say in the end? He could have just said, and those who drowned you, mitifayech yetufun, and those who drowned you are going to be drowned. What's the extra word v'sof and in the end? And he tells interesting, he says this over here is Hillel's teaching the whole idea that there is justice. We might not see it now, we might not even see it in our lifetime, but in the end, justice will be meted out by God, who's the true judge. So it's an interesting, and it's a very, I think I once heard Rabbi Manis Friedman speak about it, and he was saying that believing in justice is such a crucial part of any religion, but it's such a comforting thing to know that justice is given out, whether a person likes it or not. So many times, like somebody might wrong us in whatever way, and we might feel like, we might feel like there's nothing we can do to sort of take revenge on them. And the only comfort we get is that, somewhere, somehow justice will be served. Like, when you miss a flight and the lady behind the counter, the guy checking you in is a total, what,
Nice
not
guy.
letting the flight, and then you walk away totally hoping that justice will be served and that flight will crash, and then they'll be calling you.
Which airline do you fly? Okay.
Not that it's ever happened to me, but I know someone asking for a friend. Anyways, so but that's a crucial. It's a very comforting idea. The idea of trusting that there is justice in the end. That happens to everybody, whether they like it or not. The sof, and in the end, whether in this Gilgal and another Gilgal, however it works, Hashem is going to have every balance back to zero by the time the end comes. All right, should we go to the next Mishnah?
Well, I'm just. Is it like it's okay to talk to skulls? Like that's just a question.
Why not? I do. Don't we always talk to skulls?
Get back in your closet with the skulls, Benny.
Right.
Other than plastic skulls on Halloween, when do you see skulls usually?
But they're floating around the waters here in Mexico. They're all over the place. Anyways, give me a second. I have to put on mute so I can scream at my kids. 1 second.
Sure. Let's keep very silent so everyone can watch him scream at his kids.
So are you good at reading?
Yeah, let me translate. If you don't go to your, sorry, he's back.
You didn't go
Get out, or I'll slam on the drums. You see the drum set behind me? I will slam on it at 3 o'clock in the morning while you're asleep. Sorry.
It's actually an electric.
I was trying to lip read.
There we are. All right.
Benny, what was your threat?
No, I didn't make a threat at all. I don't threaten my kids.
Oh, no.
I don't give them time.
You offered what? You don't give them time of the day?
No, I don't give them time for the threat. I just justice is meted out, as we learned. Oh, yeah. Okay. Chas v'shalom. All right. Let's go to the next Mishnah. Mishnah 6 or 7? Mishnah 7.
Depends
Okay.
which version you have. Yahuwah Omer.
Who are you, Omer? Does anybody want to read it?
No, go. You're doing good.
Who are you, Omer? He would say Marba Basar, someone who has more flesh. Marba Rima is adding to the worms after a person dies. Marba Nachasim, too many material items.
I think we should talk about each one separately because this is like there's so much to say on each one.
Okay, Marba Basar, go give it to me. All right, I'm ready. Give it to me over the head. Manny, can you close the door?
I'm not giving you. There's nothing to give over the head. I'm just saying they're fascinating. More flesh equals more worms at the end.
Yeah,
that's interesting. It's saying don't become fat because then you will just give worms to eat. But who cares? It's after you're dead. Let the worms eat.
Well, apparently, and there's books that say that there is pain that's felt by the body, I guess, after a person dies as well, physical pain. The whole idea of chibut hakever and what's the other one?
Yeah, but that's nothing to do with worms. This is talking about literal. And by the way, I forgot to mention, going back, the whole last Mishnah was about midah keneged midah, right? Like how whatever you do will happen.
Mikvah joke now.
Hey, you set me up right there. So did you hear about the two ladies who got into a fight in the mikvah? They were punished nida keneged nida.
Oh, yeah.
Now you have to mark this as explicit lyrics.
Right, explicit content.
All
right.
So
all right.
Do we want to talk about Marba Basar, Marba Rima? We're going to do the whole Mishnah together.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure it out. Marba Basar, Marba Rima. Okay, so their worms will eat. Like, who cares? I don't know.
Okay, so eat.
Hey,
so eat. So you're Marba Basar
already. Like, who cares?
Maybe he's just saying a statement. Maybe he's not.
Right? Good for
There's depth behind this. Okay, this is something Hillel was known for. There's depth behind this. Hillel, years later, generations later, what are they saying? Hillel said, "Eat more, and the worms will eat more."
The Bartanura says that worms are as hard for the dead as a needle is for living flesh.
But the dead don't know.
Apparently they do. I don't know what to tell you.
So you just can't itch after 120 years.
Put a needle to your flesh, and that's the pain. That's what Bartanura says.
Yeah. It's also like it's a humility to the soul because the body explains in Hasidic Sfarim that the body was a vessel where you serve God. So it becomes like a holy thing, and all of a sudden, the soul watches its holy vessel being ruined. So that's the idea of it being, it was its companion, the body. It was like its friend for 120 years in this world, and all of a sudden it starts. Anyways, imagine you have something like a value, something of sentimental value, and it starts getting ruined. So it's painful.
Right.
And that's one thought on the chibut hakever, I don't know.
Suffering.
Yeah. The other thing I was reading was about this. Rima is similar to another word of ramai, of how would you say, to a disillusion, to trickery. So somebody may start living a life of meat, cigar. In the old days, cigars was a big thing. Cigarettes. But really, it's nothing. You're putting yourself on this oldest. They say there's a word in English. Instant joy is long-term depression. You're eating, you're drinking, you have a good time, but if that's not more substantial, you don't have some true values in life, it's just going to be a disillusion. It will be false. It will be not real, and you suffer in the long run.
Right, and that's I always loved Pirkei Avos because it always twists the normal perspective of the world. It always twists it on its head. One of my all these things like where the world looks at it like having more money is a blessing, or having more food or having more this is good on you, and the Pirkei Avos sort of gives you the proper perspective and says, wait, take a second, look at it from the absolute correct perspective, and all of these things that normally the world looks at as good is really damaging to you.
Well, that's really the point of the Pirkei Avos was. We do it in the summertime when the evil inclination kind of gets warmed up and heated up, and so we want to do a lot of barbecues. Yeah, do barbecues, very good, but don't overdo it. Don't get carried away with it. Where's Marba? Don't say don't eat. It said don't just Marba. Don't overdo it. Don't.
Right. So yeah, more then marba nechasim. The more you have material properties, as he translates here, the more items you have. Marba da'aga, the more daiga, the more worry you have, the more anxiety you get. And we see that the
That's
richer a
something that
person
makes
is,
sense.
the richer a person is, the more anxious he is. The more a person that's poor, he's worried that he might lose $10, which is very significant for him. But a person that's much wealthier, when he's losing money, he's losing $1 million, so that's a lot more stressful for him, even though
He has a lot more to lose, but at the same time, again, I'm playing devil's advocate, but a poor person, he's losing the house over his head.
right, but it's not that bad. It's not such a fall drop from where he was. But
Interesting you saying a fall drop. I know a story, and maybe you know this guy also. He's an attorney. He did very, very, very well, and he bought properties, and he didn't keep obviously a lot. He didn't keep a lot of savings. That was a big problem. Maybe, but what happened was when 2007, 2008, when the market flipped,
right.
he literally lost. He had his house, okay, but he lost everything, and it was the biggest depression. If he would have not invested in all these properties, and he would have not done all these kind of things, he would have his house. He wouldn't have all these worries. So, the market. I want to just mention a story that happened with the fourth Lubavitcher Rebbe was Rebbe Shab, correct? Would I be correct about that?
The fifth was the Rebbe Rashab. The Rebbe Marash was the fourth.
Okay, the fifth Rebbe.
Rebbe Marash!
It was written up a story a while back, and he had a chassid. His name was Rebbe Uziel Chazanov, and he used to manufacture train tracks for the Russian government. At one time, the business went very, very bad, and he had a lot of debts. He had I don't even know what the amounts of debts were, because it was rubles, maybe hundreds of thousands of rubles, whatever it was. And he asked the Rebbe Rashab, should I keep into this business, or should I sell all my equity and maybe be able to pay off half my debts? So the Rebbe Rashab told him, in Sweden, there's a big round circle that goes up and down. Today we know it as a Ferris wheel. And he says the people on top are very, very happy. They're always laughing. The people on bottom are always crying, but they're very stupid, because the people on the bottom are soon going to go up, and the people on top are soon going to go down. And he told them, I'm going to give you a blessing that will just knock you off this wheel. There will be no more ups and downs. You'll just stay up all the time. And he said, stay in the business and you'll see things will change. Sure enough, within a short time, things went better for him, and he only did better and better at that point. So, that's the normal life cycle of a business person. Things go up, things go down. And we're not saying if you profit, you not profit, but there is certainly there. Hasidus brings a lot of times a story. Is it better to be a manager of a business or to own a business? The manager many times works much harder, but the owner cannot sleep at night. The manager sleeps at night. He works hard. He does all the dirty work. He physically does the work, but the owner cannot sleep at night. That's what it's talking about. The Chasam Marvadaiga. You increase in properties, increase in objects and materialists. You have more, worries.
Right. There's a story connected with what you said about the guy who lost all his money, a very wealthy guy who lost all his money, and then he went to the bathhouse or something like that, and he came out and someone had stolen his clothes. So he started to laugh. So they asked him, why are you laughing? And he said, basically, he always knew about that wheel that turns. So he was always wondering, and he realized he thought yesterday that he was at rock bottom, and now he doesn't even have clothes to wear. He realizes he's at rock bottom. The only direction he could go is up.
Yeah. Well, it's very true. When you're
and then he broke out in a rash. And then his smile walked in.
Yeah. On his way
Things
home,
go. There's
he
never
broke his femur bone.
Someone stole his clothes. Oh boy.
Yeah. That's like the second part of the story you're not supposed to know about.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. So yeah, very nice. Okay. So where are we up to? Marba Da'oga, Marba Nashim, too many wives. You listening? Too many wives, Marba Chshafim, you get too much witchcraft, sorcery.
Now that is yeah.
You want to address this
one?
I don't know. Let's call our wives.
I'll address it. Actually, what do you call it? I'll address it from what's it called? The word sorcery and witchcraft could be referring to like It's found elsewhere in like the same. What's the term in Hebrew? Let me see up here. Chfashim. Chfashim is used as a term to like a broken marriage. You find from other things that are like 100 or 200 years earlier in specifically Ben Sira. Ben Sira is it's part of the Sfarim HaChatzainim, part of the Apocrypha. There was a guy whose name was Yoshua ben Sira who wrote a book that during the time of Shimon HaTzadik he lived. We know that because he quotes Shimon HaTzadik in there and refers to Shimon HaTzadik in his book. It's mostly a book of like wise sayings, but he shares some interesting stories and stuff like that. You could compare it to Mishlei in many ways. Proverbs, right? That's Mishlei. So Ben Sira is also quoted in the Gemara several times. So even though he didn't make it into the Tanakh, he's still, respected. So in there, he mentions about someone whose daughter, whose daughter was having trouble with her marriage, and she was going to chfashim, which is very clear. It means that the marriage is being broken apart. So again, over here, it's referring to polygamy. Very simple, very straightforward. Polygamy could lead to, broken marriages. It's very tough for a marriage, as we know from all the stories in history. That being said, you heard about the Koilo guys, all right? Polygamy like the Chaim Rabbeinu Gershom. Rabbeinu Gershom.
Oh yeah.
Meor Agola. He lived like in the 1400s, 14th century.
So the Koilo guys, they realize if they marry multiple women, they get paid double.
Exactly. Yeah, you ruined the joke. But good. No, that was the joke. But
I had no idea. I'm so sorry.
No, good job.
I thought like the joke had to do with like taking care of the shidduch crisis.
That the people are seriously when it expired, because he made it for a certain amount of years. His cherem, this excommunication,
1,000 years.
His story with his two wives, it was 1,000 years. So then, yeah, are you sure it was 1,000? Yeah. He lived in the 10th century. I'm sorry.
Yeah. It ended like 60 years ago or something.
No, it ended like 20 or 30 years ago. Oh no, maybe earlier, and then they extended it. Anyway, so they were talking about, because of the shidduch crisis, there was an actual discussion that they should allow.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Wow.
But then they looked inside this Mishnah.
That's my kind of rabbi.
No.
So I think that's a great explanation. Just to like maybe if I could highlight that a bit. So I think in a modern generation, say, well, today there is no really sorcery, witchcraft officially. So what does it apply to us? And I think what's hinting to us is if a person engages in polygamy, there's going to be some kind of stress between the women where they're going to do things like witchcraft to kind of get your attention. They'll do various, not tricks, but something like that. Schoolize, there you go. But they will try to manipulate, just same way that Shafin manipulates, they will try to manipulate you. And that's what it's talking about. And what is saying Marba? Meaning, let's say you have 3, you Marba, you get 4, you have more problems. The more pressure for them to get your attention, the more manipulation, let's call it, you'll have.
Does burning my pasta count as shafim? I'm just wondering. I'm asking for a friend.
Let's be honest, this part is a little bit sexist. All right.
And the first chapter wasn't.
And the truth is, that was a sign of the times, right?
I remember learning this with Sonia, and I think women in general are more spiritually, spiritually attuned. So if there's going to be one that's going to be drawn to witchcraft and all these spiritual, like the schools and everything, women are probably more prone to that.
Well, we do see it with Shlomo Melech, right? King Solomon.
Right.
He married 1,000 wives, and he was great, the wisest man on earth. And look what happened to him at the end of his life. Towards his end, like everyone looks at him so great, but forgets how deeply steeped in idolatry.
Even though, I'm sorry for cutting you.
No, go.
Even though that King Solomon did it for a good intention, explains in commentaries explain that he did it in order to bring the kings of the world to the acknowledgement of God. So he thought by marrying their daughters, that's what commentaries, by marrying their daughters, he would create relationships with various kings.
I think that's a deeper explanation. He actually just tried to make peace. That was his.
And that's one of the reasons he was able to make peace. And you see, ultimate peace is a recognition in one, I mean, a deeper level of peace. Okay, I agree, a deeper level of peace would be acknowledgement of God, making peace between all the understandings, making peace, so
Yeah.
there you go.
All right, the next part. Let me get back to this link quickly. Okay, too many maidservants brings much more immorality. What do they say over here?
Lewdness.
Lewdness. All right, immorality, lewdness, untzniaskeit.
Yeah.
What is that, Betty?
I don't know. It's a Hershkovich dictionary word.
Okay.
Marba avodim, too many
Ah,
slaves.
stop! Why are you rushing through that? No, it was the reality where the wealthy landowners who would have, they would take advantage of the women who were their slaves.
Right.
And that's why the Torah has the halacha in Kisava, right? Kisavai. Kisetze, sorry. If you capture a beautiful woman.
Right. The process.
Imagine if the Torah had to make halachas on that of shaving her hair and basically making her satmar, then the Torah, I'm sorry, then the Torah there was probably people couldn't control themselves with their female slaves,
Right.
maids.
I think also, just from a common sense, I didn't read anywhere, but from a common sense type of perspective, the same idea with the women. You have very female slaves; they all want to get a higher position. They become more suggestive because there's many of them. They all want to. I guess if you have maidservants, there's ones who do various works, and you want to get a better job. They promote themselves by zima. I can use that word, lewdness.
Sleeping with their masters.
With masters.
We have an adult audience. It's not kids watching this.
Okay, Baruch Hashem.
As of now, we have no audience.
We actually, let's look. How many
There's
people
6 people. That's because
one of them gave us a thumbs down. Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Hey.
6 people, and we have a thumbs down. This is epic. I love this. I love you guys.
I think he gave the thumbs down when you started speaking about shaving heads. All right.
Oh, they do it for cancer awareness. Benny, you should know. I'm sorry, I'm just going so south today.
Oh, look, 2 thumbs down. Oh my goodness.
Was it you?
No. All right. I just wanted to say the Bartanura actually mentions, interesting, if you look at the Mishnah, it goes in order. The Bartanura says that this goes in the order of a person. A person starts by, filling himself up with food, with drink, really believing in his own temporary pleasures. And then, oh look, 2 thumbs down. Wait, somebody put on the volume on the YouTube.
No, Charles, you just checked out. You just came to.
Was it you? Turn the volume off. Anyway, so it starts with the Bartanura actually mentions. Turn the volume off on the YouTube. It goes in order. Bartanura says that this goes. Please turn the volume off on the YouTube.
Charles, you need to turn the volume off on YouTube.
My thing froze. Hold on, my thing froze.
Oh, he turned off his volume. That works. So turn off the volume and come back on.
All right. Well, he's just on mute. Okay, now.
All right.
Yeah.
No.
Do you realize that if he would have left it on, there would have been like an endless stream of it going back, forever. People would just be hearing us speak. Yeah.
I'm really sorry about that. It just
don't worry. We've all done that.
Interesting time on here. I wanted to make a little bit of
No worries. Anyways, so the Bartanura says that it goes in order. A person starts by eating and drinking too much, and then he has to get himself a good job, and he has to get as many cars and homes that he could, and then he wants to get married, so he wants to increase in all his wives. Once he has all his wives, he has to get each wife a maidservant, so you have Marba Shvach.
Slow down. Something happened, Benny. Okay.
What happened? I didn't do it.
Whatever. Maybe it was my computer. But anyway, yeah. How it's a progression, right?
Right. After he has that many wives, each wife needs a maidservant, so he gets a lot of maidservants, and from there he's going to a lot of servants because his businesses are growing. So it's going in a progression. And when you focus on the temporary pleasures and all those things that your body tells you need, it's just increasing in your stress, your tension, your what's it called, like the how temporary you are, and how how it all disappears very, very soon, and it's not a fun life to have, right? That's I was just having this discussion with somebody yesterday who was actually telling me because of the whole COVID situation, they're actually looking to buy a property out of town, out of the city. They want to just buy a ranch. They want to sell their home here. They just want to buy a little home on the farm, have a few animals. They'll have their eggs. They'll have their milk every day. They'll have their meat if they need. They'll have their vegetables that they're going to plant and just live, take away all the crazy things that were, bogging him down for the last few years and live a peaceful life, just to drop all the nechasim, all their wives, all their commitments that they had to temporary things. And I think this COVID, the whole lockdown, for people that were in metropolis cities, that life was so fast and so, moving and running here and there, the lockdown came and for them, it was such a radical change in life that hit them all of a sudden doing nothing at home. As opposed to somebody who was in the farm, people that were living in the rural areas, for them, it wasn't such a big difference. It didn't make such a big change.
They probably had no change. You got to still go out, work the land.
Yeah, maybe they put on a mask when they went to the little convenience store once a week, like they always did. But yeah, for the most part, they had everything available at home. And
introverts too.
Huh?
Introverts too, for the most part.
Yeah.
What did I say?
Nothing.
Introverts also, right? Yeah.
Just saying, like, this is weird week. No one watching is commenting. So, how has it been for you? If you're watching now live, let us know. How has it been for you, this COVID situation?
Yeah, talking about COVID, there's there are people commenting that there may be a lot of movement from big metropolises.
Right.
Well, I know I spoke to some people in New York. One guy wants to move to Pennsylvania. One guy wants to move, upstate
That's
New York.
just because of summer camp. He's probably returning back right after that.
No, but there's a whole community of Chabad guys that want to move out of Crown Heights now, move up to Ellenberg, which is also around
I saw someone in Chabad writing that they're gathering. They already have like 25 people there. They're opening up a space near Tampa.
Amazing.
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot of, but the only problem is people don't remember. As soon as it's all over, you forget what happened, and you kind of. So, but there is expect a lot of movement afterwards. From less big cities.
Well, I think now a lot of New Yorkers will likely want to move out because of all the fireworks that's taking place in their streets all day and night. Which also may explain why we have so few viewers. Everyone's finally getting some sleep. With the fireworks.
Well, one
isn't that like the funnest way to be annoyed?
One thing is, and it's not really relevant, but like there's cities like big cities that they charge like a lot of taxes, and there's certain states that charge no taxes. So like there's so many reasons that people want to move now, and this has all changed recently. I'm saying, not just to add on to the previous commentary. Right. But anyways.
Yeah.
No, it's a good. I enjoy these segues actually. This is part of the fun.
I was speaking to Sonia, and she told me that so they have this WhatsApp chat for all the small town shluchos, all the female Chabad emissaries that are in these small towns. And she was saying how for most of these shluchos, because they live in such small towns, Saskatchewan, Wyoming, wherever it is, so they live on these huge, expansive properties, and because of that, they Corona really didn't hurt them that much. But I can assume living in Crown Heights, living in in one of these ghettos, really slammed these people in every way.
Montreal, it's weird. In Montreal's frum community or Jewish community, one person passed away.
One person passed away?
That's it.
I don't know, Baruch Hashem.
No, not recently. When it first hit.
Right. Yeah, I remember.
But I don't know why, but that I know of, one person.
In the Chabad community, in the entire Jewish community?
In the entire Jewish community. It was a Hasidish person.
Nobody from Kotzei Luke passed away? There wasn't... I think so. Then he was the first guy to pass away.
I'm talking about non-elderly. There were elderly people who did, but I'm referring to people who are under 70. Right? It was one person under 70.
Wow.
Interesting.
That's crazy.
Over here in the Southwest, there's specifically Miami-Dade is a growing number, and there's certain schools are just closed down recently. They never closed, and they're closing now because they're starting to have
it's been a crazy wave, no?
Yeah. So thank God deaths are stable, hospitalizations are stable, but there's starting to be more and more infections. So there is a belief that the virus is not as aggressive, but nobody really knows. It's just a thought.
Right.
You know, we'll have to see what happens, but we got to be careful because a lot of places have been in lockdown, have been very, very careful, and now they're easing regulations, and they may start having a start. We hope not. Honest.
Yeah. Well, we'll find out. Anyways. All right. So that's with regards to all the physical pursuits and the negative reaction that the physical.
Hold on, you
pursuits have on a
didn't
person.
actually read the last one.
The last one was too many servants brings much thievery. Thievery.
Yeah, but and we didn't discuss it, did we?
Well, slave steal.
Yeah, well, it's not all slave steal. It's that why would someone become a slave? Typically from it was kind of a cycle.
From poverty.
Steal. Well, and I have to repay you, right? Because I don't have the money, so I have to work as your slave, right?
Correct.
So, but likely, a lot of them came from thievery. So someone who has too many slaves, people are probably stealing from him. It's kind of like a practical way of looking at it.
Right. Interesting. All right. And we go to the positive side. Marba Torah, person has a lot of Torah. The more Torah one has, the more life one has. Torah is life. The more yeshiva, what does that mean? The more sitting, the more studying that one has, the more wisdom one is going to gain, right? The more counsel that a person takes, the more understanding he will have.
Benny, I'm gonna have to leave. Continue without me, guys. I gotta
worries.
help Kyla with the kids.
No problem.
They are cooking up a storm at bedtime, so they're gonna get walloped. No, I'm gonna go.
One finger on a 9 and the other one on the 1. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Get my machete.
Just don't forget what Hillel said.
Yeah, I'm gonna be speaking to skulls soon. No.
Okay.
God forbid. Okay, guys. See you
All
next
right,
week.
Thanks, Tzvi. Ciao.
Bye.
By the way, I actually heard that the skull. So I read just recently that the skull and crossbones was actually originally a Jewish symbol. Did you ever know that?
That he's saying it now, it kind of rings a bell, but I did not know that. Definitely did not know that. It kind of,
Someone put a picture of a cemetery somewhere in Europe, an old cemetery, which had skull and crossbones, and it was the idea. It was a statement
right?
of,
Not to go.
No, it was a statement of the belief in the resurrection of the dead. They used to put that picture outside the Jewish cemeteries, these old cemeteries. I think there's an old cemetery somewhere in Germany that has that skull and crossbones.
It makes sense.
And that's why it was associated with pirates also, because of the Jewish pirates that used to go around.
Wow.
That's what I heard. I don't know. It
makes sense.
And if only Tzvi were here, he would somehow connect that with the Mishnah. Well,
you can comment in the comments later. You watch it.
Yeah. All right. So much counsel gives a lot of understanding. More charity that one gives increases in peace. When a person acquires a good name, he acquires it for himself. If a person acquires for himself knowledge of Torah, he acquired life in the world to come. An interesting.
So I just want to give just a little bit of, if I can, a little bit of thought on this. So Marba Torah, Marba Chaim. This is a lot. We know that the Torah is the source of life. We mean a spiritual life, but also, we also know it also gives a physical life. Like, you say somebody's going to study Torah. Let's say, when we say study Torah, we don't mean just studying Torah. We mean also sharing Torah, giving lectures, enriching people with the Torah lifestyle. So what did he get for himself? He lost all his life, right? You go, Rabbi, you don't go to the beach, you're not going to the country club, so you're wasting your time by studying the Torah. No, the Torah says not like that. Marba Torah, you're going to study the Torah. God will place that time in life for you. He will make sure it's not wasting. Okay? L'man yitav lach. It says because it'll be good for you, meaning God will make sure you have prosperity.
Right. Well, l'bacharta b'chaim.
Right.
Also, right?
Right. And the Marba Yeshiva wanted to just because kind of connected a little bit, just Marba Yeshiva, sitting in a study hall. So Yeshiva also means like relaxing, taking it easy, study. Sometimes somebody tells you something, your first reaction is, where did you get that from? No, the right way to do it is chachma. It says, this comes from the word kayach ma, nullification. And in order to really benefit from study, the first thing you have to have is nullification. I mean, I remember as a kid, I used to ask my Rebbe a lot of questions, my teacher a lot of questions. He said, like, Vayomer, who said, 1 second, we get to the next word. So sometimes by being quiet, Chachma, shutting up and listening to somebody who may have something to add, not just a rabbi, but also a student. Like it says, Harbe Lamadati Meir Aboisai. I learned lots from my teachers. But it says, I learned more from my students because somebody who it's interesting story. I talked one time to a graduate of Oxford University. Not that everybody who graduates Oxford is a Mensa member, but I spoke to this guy who graduated Oxford. And he told me something very interesting. He says, in most American colleges, the students don't talk at all. The teacher comes with a book. He teaches them everything and spoon feeds them everything. In Oxford and Cambridge, he said, it's more like a base medrash kind of environment. You have a mentor and you have books. They assign you which books, what to study, and you have to dig it on your own, have to listen, learn on your own. And that's what yeshiva is really about. It's about chachma, sitting down, learning, not starting to know everything, not being spoon-fed. Yeshiva sitting down and kind of acquiring everything with humility.
Right. So the yeshiva gives you humility.
Correct.
Actually, Aaron commented. We finally have a comment. Tzvi leaves. We get our comments.
Yay!
Aaron commented. You learn how to relax in yeshiva. That's connected
really
with humility, because humility is just relaxing and doing nothing. Yes, that's awesome. And then busy, nothing to do with COVID. Thank you for doing this. I'm enjoying it very much. Thank you, Recha. And let's continue. Let's finish it. So when you increase in these also Marba Torah is Marba Chaim. Again, you're redefining the whole idea of life as well.
Right, exactly.
Saying you increase in Torah, you're increasing in life. You're right. It's not like you said before. Like, what do you mean? How am I going to live if I learn Torah? Well, you have to redefine life as well. Life doesn't mean having yachts and boats and cars and homes and doing whatever you want and having whatever you ever want and millions of dollars. Life is actually really living the quality of life, and that is increased with Torah.
It's funny you mentioning that, Benny, talking about just rewinding a little bit to Marba Nechas and Marba Daiga. You remember I used to be in the mortgage business years ago.
Right.
And I had some wealthy clients, literally wealthy clients. And almost all of them were in lawsuits with people. They couldn't get along with people, and their whole day was in court.
Right.
I mean, How many rich people do you know that they're always in court because this one ripped them off and this one and that one? They literally had no peace in their lives. When they had free time, they were seeing their therapist.
Yeah, 100%. We have a guy.
I'm not starting it with wealth, but
we have a guy here in our community. He doesn't go anywhere without 2 or 3 lawyers.
Exactly.
He never goes anywhere alone. He needs 2 or 3 lawyers around him.
Yeah.
What
can he say? Exactly.
And so it's crazy.
Right.
It's not a life. You just want like $1 million. You don't want 100 million. You just want like 2-3 million in the bank.
Exactly.
All right. There's enough to go around for everybody. Okay. So you acquired a good name. You acquired for yourself. You acquired for yourself words of Torah. That means you've acquired also for yourself the life of the world to come. Why does it say kana lo divrei Torah? You acquired for yourself words of Torah. What do you mean for yourself? Should have said you acquired words of Torah. You acquired for yourself the world to come. And the answer is, I think I said it a few weeks ago about the guy who came to the a big studious guy came to one of the Rebbes, and he told the Rebbe, I learned the whole Shas, right? I learned the whole Talmud. And the Rebbe told him in Yiddish, du hast gelernt der ganze Shas, aber was hat Shas dir ausgelernt?
Yeah,
right? You learned it, but what did it teach you? What did you learn from it? What did you internalize from it? So kana lo divrei Torah, when he acquires for himself words of Torah, it doesn't just mean rushing through the Torah and then, oh, you did it. Where's my world to come? No. It's got to mean, you got to internalize.
Sounds very much like a Rabbi Hirschsprung, Olav Shalom kind of word to say. Like he used to say, people are so, I remember one of the words he used to say was like, people are so careful what they put in their mouth, if they were only as careful what came out of their mouth.
Right, exactly.
The same kind of line. So I just want to comment a little bit. So Marbet stuck or Marbet Sholem. Stuck doesn't only mean financial, it means helping people with what they need, whether you're inviting, and you know what, when you make sure that the less fortunate have what they need, automatically there's a ripple effect. I remember there's a book that I read. It was not even a Jewish book. It was called "The Bucket Is Half Full," and it was saying by making people feel good, the gist was automatically they claimed it was ununderstood science, but the natural thing is that if you help people who don't have, you yourself will, be okay. And that's what Shalom is, because you won't be missing anything when you won't be missing anything.
Right. Yeah.
And
We have some comments. Aaron finished work late. What's up with that, man? What do I care? Just kidding. And where did Tzvi go? Tzvi was fired. He made some very inappropriate statements, and the committee, we had to let him go.
The committee's standing around you, right?
It was about Black Lives Matter. I'm just kidding.
Somebody got a comment.
Go.
It was the Universal Farbrengen earlier. So some guy commented BLM about Tshuva Lives Matter.
Oh, that is hard.
Like a big thing, like all of a sudden I'm watching the Farbrengen, all of a sudden like this text comes out on the Zoom,
That's amazing.
Oh
yeah. They have a legitimate claim actually, the Balchuvas. There's a movement where these Balchuvas, they like, as long as they don't have beards or kapatas, they get all the attention and love. And the minute the beard and the kapata goes on, like they're totally ignored.
Yeah, but I want to tell you something. What I've noticed the last 10, 20 years, Bali Tshuva are making game shidduchim with like what we would call mainstream Lubavitch. Like, I don't think it's that so much the stigma's there anymore as it used to be.
Yeah, I think it's
kind of melted away somewhat.
Aaron comments,
somewhat.
I'm saying Aaron comments, if Tzvi goes, I go.
Oh
my goodness. Well, Tzvi left, you came. I'm sorry.
One quick thing.
He'll be back next week, hopefully.
One other thing quickly I would like to comment is, because something explained in Hasidus is that whatever we, like the Rabbi Rashab, I believe it was, they learned the beginning of Baba Basra, and in the beginning of Baba Basra, it talks about two people who found the talus, and the law is if you both find it, you split it. Either you split the value or you cut it in half, whichever way you like it. And the Rebbe Shah was explaining to him the same way you learned this over here in Olam Haba. They learned the Gemara about two people who found the mitzvah. They said each one said, let's say I donate to yeshiva. I save the yeshiva from bankruptcy. I save the yeshiva from bankruptcy. So in heaven they paskin that they both reap reward for that. Why is that a talus? Because a mitzvah surrounds the neshama like a talus surrounds the body. So too the mitzvah surrounds the neshama. So what he's basically saying over here is, according to Hasidic philosophy, is that when you learn Torah in this world, you're going to learn the same Torah in the next world. If all you learn was Shema Yisrael, you're going to learn it on a much deeper, much heavier level. Similar to what it says when Mashiach comes, he'll teach us a new Torah. God forbid he's not going to change the laws. It says that the Chazer will become permitted when Mashiach comes. Some Sfarim say, how's that possible? The Torah is not going to change. So it explains that the Chazer, and I'll get to it another time maybe, but the words of the pasuk, you could realize that the Chazer is only not permitted because its body functions a certain way. However, it will become permitted because the body will come and function a different way when Mashiach comes. Meaning it will not become, and it's too before we believe that, right? That so basically, what I want to get back to is that what is Olam Haba is whatever deeds, whatever you learned in this world, it's magnified upstairs like like a billion times, or that's infinite times.
Right.
So that's what I think the Mishnah is aiming on. Whatever you took downstairs in this world, whatever you bought downstairs, you bought it for the next world.
Shaul, I appreciate that, but we have some common gold. It's all. I'm gonna take a screenshot of this and send it to Tzvi. He leaves and everyone's commenting. Thank you for the commenters, by the way. We got Aaron comments. He says, "Is that where the scarf talus came from? The half talus thing?"
I think scarf talus came from somewhere on the beach where it was really, really hot. And they just had to bet something a little bit more cool.
No, two guys found the talus and they just ripped it in half and they had a scarf talus. Actually, the scarf taluses are so small, it's probably like 8 guys that found the talus.
Yeah.
I'm already going there. Evray says if someone is not BT yet and doesn't want to be bothered, he should just grow a beard and wear a kapata. I love that.
Try it. That's awesome.
That is awesome. It's true. Walk down Manhattan with a beard and a kapata, no one's gonna stop you for tefillin.
You know what's funny? During the riots, they had some police dressed up as boys. I don't know
They
if you
had
saw
what?
them in
They had
Lake
what?
and some other wares during the riots. They had some police officers with decoys. They were wearing yarmulkes and metzitzis and paste, but you could tell 100% it wasn't real.
They were wearing those scarf palaces?
No, they were wearing tzitzis, but it was like so perfect. And the paste was like, and the yarmulke was like from the funeral home yarmulkes, They looked very religious, but they were wearing the
Right.
yarmulke,
That's
It
awesome.
was really funny.
Oh my goodness. Right. The only problem is you wear a kapata and a hat, so they're not gonna bother you about like putting on tefillin, but then you're gonna be bothered like for minyan and for a million other things. Trust me,
Yeah.
you want to just be you want to just be bugged about tefillin and leave it at that. Comes with a price. Wearing a hat and a kapata and a beard, it has a price to it.
Exactly.
But it's worthwhile. Why not do it? Yeah, do it. It's not so bad. Let's end off with a little quick Gimel Tammuz thought, Shol. Share us with us a
So,
story.
I was really thinking about this, going back to what we just said over here, where we, it's Tchilas Masech. We'll end the end where we started at the beginning about Hillel. I'd like to share something, if that's okay.
Yeah, sure.
So, we're talking about Hillel was the Moshe Rabbeinu of his generation. We know that each generation has a Moshe Rabbeinu, and what do we see? What do we start off today? That Hillel, he corrected those people. Hillel, even a skull, okay, he corrected as well, the skull of Pharaoh. So I think the Rebbe, we see the same thing by the Rebbe. No matter was any person, human being,
Right.
whatever color he was, Jewish, not Jewish, any race. I remember during the riots at Crown Heights, David Dinkins, then mayor of New York, came to him, and even though there was a lot of criticism to him, he came to the Rebbe, and the Rebbe treated him so honorably and in a friendly smile, and he really treated him as if he was his own chassid, or as he was his own secretary.
Right.
I think we could learn maybe for this Gimel Tammuz a few small lessons. We have to treat people outside our house, what Jew, non-Jew, animal, whatever he is, just a creature of God, with utmost respect. And how much more so do we have to respect domestically our relatives? That's A. And B, we don't have to be very, very religious, but if you know Aleph, if you know something very small, you know how to learn Aleph base, you know how to learn Chumash, you know how to learn something, spread the light.
Right.
I met a neighbor of mine recently. He was telling me, what does this coronavirus mean? You guys are the people of, the faith of the light. What do you mean? What is this doing to us? People look up to us, and everybody has something to share. And even if you have to buy a book and with translation, share it with somebody. Bring more light into the world. It's interesting when I'm thinking to myself now, they say bring more light into the world. What happened on Gimel Tammuz? The third day of Tammuz, which tonight and tomorrow is, the first occurrence in the world on the first of Tammuz is that Yehoshua stopped the sun in Givon.
Wow.
The prophet says, Shemesh b'Givon Dov. He increased the sunlight on the third of Tammuz. Let's all, in our own way, figure out with our neighbor, with our family, sit down to dinner tonight. Instead of just making a dinner of fressing, say a word of Torah, say a law, say something that the family can benefit from. Bring a little bit more light into the world. And I want to just finish off with this little thought. When the holiday comes, when we bring out the Torah on the 3 holidays, we say a very interesting verse. And we read the verse, V'yiskayim banu mikra shekasuv v'nocha olav ruach Hashem. And it should be fulfilled, the prophecy, the words, and God's spirit will rest on him, which that is talking about Mashiach. Question is, why do we say that should rest on us? And the answer is, if we all light our little sparks, we'll have a massive flame of Mashiach. We all have a little bit in us, a soul that connects to Mashiach. Let's do all a little bit more light. And when you have a lot of little fires, you have a massive flame. Let's do that and bring more light into the world. And we will soon see that this will all dissipate. All this negativity will dissipate. Reading in Hasidus this morning that what is Tumah, what is Klipa? It's really a vacuum. It's a void that pulls out from goodness. And let's try always to bring a little bit more light into the world.
Right. Wow. Shkoyach.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks so much for the show. Thank you everybody for joining in and for those amazing comments. And thank you, Tzvi. Even though he's putting his kids to sleep, he had to get off. We'll be back, God willing, next week. I hope, if I'm able to. Starting camp on Tuesday, so I'm going to do my best. If
Yes,
not,
and
it'll be
Aaron
the
writes,
following
shine a
week,
little
we'll
light.
try.
Yes, great. And
Shine
by
a
the way,
little
Benny,
light. There we
are
go.
we on next week or what's the story? We'll notify?
I would love to be on. We'll have to find out. I really hope we are.
Maybe
I
we can do
might not
something
be
small.
available though. There's camp.
Yes.
Right.
Maybe we can do 15, 20 minutes even, just to,
Sounds
I'll
good.
tell you the truth, in my life, it adds to me a lot, this Pirkei Avot, so.
Yeah, me too. All right, Beseder, thank you all the commenters. Thank you to all those viewing. Thank you to Rabbi Shul. Thank you to Tzvi. We want Mashiach now. Go get it.